Namaste, and welcome to the first class of a new year. Today is going to be about release and letting go. We can say goodbye to 2020, and it's about the exhale, the expulsion of energy today. So we're going to use a mudra, hand gesture. You can use this or you don't have to. And it's a bit like the rock-on symbol. You take your middle finger and ring finger and touch it lightly to the thumb, leaving the index finger and little finger extended. You can do that with both hands and rest the hands lightly on thighs or on your knees. So find a comfortable way to sit. It doesn't have to be cross-legged, and draw the spine up nice and tall. And if you want to, you can close your eyes. Tap into your breath. Notice how the breath is. And if it's okay for you, we breathe in and out through the nose. And this half term, the next few weeks, really want us to focus each week on breathing. Pranayama practices in yoga help us take control over our life force through the breath. So the most useful breath we can all use during yoga is Ujjayi breathing. Ujjayi means victorious. It means conquering, and it allows us to slow down and steady the breath. If you want to bring in the Ujjayi breath, then we start by working on the exhale. And the Ujjayi breath involves a little constriction in the throat. So best way I can describe it is if you are fogging up a mirror on the exhale, or if you are whispering to someone, you make this little constriction in the throat, so you get this whispering sound. And a way to find it through the breath is to breathe in naturally through the nose, and then exhale, making a whispered E sound. So try that a couple of breaths. Perhaps you get a sense of this little tightness in the throat, and it's like an hourglass, a egg timer. You're slowing down the breath. And the next stage is to close your mouth halfway through the E sound. See if you can carry on making that E sound internally. And it turns into like this whispered mmm. And when we keep the mouth closed now, and keep the breath going, trying to think of this Ujjayi breath, it sounds like waves lapping up and down on a beach, sometimes called the ocean breath. If you've got it, great. If you don't, do not worry about it. We can work on it over time. Just try and slow the breaths down so you've got lovely deep inhales and lovely long exhales, and stay with that. And think of everything that happened in 2020, good, bad, indifferent. It's time to move on from it. So we had the virus, we had lockdown and everything that came with that. And although it was a struggle and an effort, and there was some horrible parts to it, there were some good things that came out of it. And some things we might want to continue into 2021, some things we'd rather leave behind. So there's some lessons there that we can take with us, and some things we're just gonna say, I've had enough of that. So breathe in, breathe out, bring the hands to the heart space. And we'll say thank you for what last year offered us, even if it was in terms of challenges and struggles. And we'll bring that into some movement now. You can work out any frustration or anger, as well as some thankfulness through this practice. So on an inhale, lift your arms up and out. Reach them up to the sky, maybe touching at the top. And exhale, bring them back down to the floor. All the way down, touch the earth. and again. Inhaling up, exhaling down. If you feel that you've had your legs crossed in one particular way for a long time, you can change the cross of the legs or you can stretch the legs out. This time we're going to take a side bend. So lifting up, keep the left hand up in the air. The right hand's going to come back down to the floor. We're going to reach over with that top hand, keeping the arm over the ear, taking a nice deep breath there, staying for a breath, and then the next inhale, rising up through the center and exhaling over to the other side. Trying to breathe into the right side of the body, release a little on the exhale, and then inhale up. Take a twist this time, turning to your right. Left hand forward, right hand comes to the ground. Lengthen up through the spine and breathe out into your twist. Inhale back to the middle, reach up. And come to the other side, nice and gentle to start with. You choose how much to twist the body. Try and lengthen a little on an inhale and soften on an exhale. And then come back to the front, lift those arms. This time, take the hands down to the floor behind you a little, and you can stay on the tips of your fingers, or if it's comfortable for you, you can bring the palms down to the floor, lean back a little bit. Lift the heart. Inhale, look up to the sky, keep a nice long neck, and exhale, let the head drop back. This could be a little way or a lot, see what's comfortable for you. Take a breath there. The next time you inhale, lift all the way back up to seated posture and exhale in the center. Take the legs out in front of you now, as wide as you can comfortably. I'm up on a block. Sometimes it helps to be up on a block or a cushion for these first seated movements. We're going to twist from side to side. So you decide how much you're going to twist. If you want to bend the knees a little, maybe even support underneath with cushions, you can. Otherwise, we're looking for straight legs, toes pointed towards the ceiling. Going to inhale, take the arms out to the side. Exhale, reach your left hand towards your right foot. You can bow down a little. Inhale, back to the center. Exhale, taking the right hand over to the left foot. Doesn't matter if it doesn't get there. Inhale back to the center. One more time on each side, moving dynamically, taking the right hand back, the left hand forward, coming up to the center on an inhale, right hand forward, left hand back. Good. Inhaling. Now we're going to stay. So we're twisting over towards the right foot and we're reaching the fingers out in opposite directions. If that's uncomfortable, on your back shoulder, let the fingers drop down to the floor. See if that's more comfortable. Same with the front fingers. If you want to rest the fingers down, they can be on the toes, the ankle, the shin, wherever they land. Breathe in here. Lengthen through the back. Exhale into this twist, into the stretch you might feel at the back of the leg. Then we're going to come up and do that the other side. Rising up through the center on the inhale. Exhale, turning over. So gentle twist at this stage. See how that back arm feels. Maybe the fingers come down to the floor. Maybe they stay reaching out behind you. And see if it feels different rather than moving dynamically to stay static in a pose. Not going to stay for too long. Inhale. It's going to take you up. Back to the center. Exhale, bring the hands forward and down to the floor. Okay, so again, you can soften the knees if that helps here. I'd rather you keep a straight spine and bend the knees a little than round and hunch the back. But we're going to slowly, on 2 exhales, come forward a little more. So the inhale, we lift through the chest, lift through the crown of the head. The exhale, we walk the hands just a little bit forward. See if you feel a stretch down the back of the legs. If not, then go for it. Go forward more. I feel plenty here. We don't need to come forward anymore. Breathe out. Relax the head down. And And then walk the hands back towards you. Come upright. Bend the knees. Place the feet on the floor. You can have a little hug of the knees. And then placing the hands lightly on top of the knees. We're going to take our cat-cow flexes in a seated posture today. So again, inhale just as we are. Exhale, tilt the hips back, let the back round, and drop the chin towards the chest. As you breathe in, rise up again, lift the heart forward, lift the nose up to the sky, and exhale. Rock back a little, rounding the back, dropping the chin. On the inhale, we lift forward, so the back arches, and we feel this opening at the front of the body. One more time each way, rounding into our cat stretch. And then tilting the hips forward into this more of a cow pose. Good. And then I want you to come all the way onto tabletop position, hands and knees, kneeling on all fours. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, and a little sway of the hips, a sway of the shoulders. Let the head and neck be free. I want you to move organically, so you can take those cat-cow movements if you like with the spine, or you might choose to sway more from side to side or forward and back. Let's free up the energy. This helps free up emotions as well. Moving however you feel your body wants to move. Before we take the hips back towards the heels now with the hips. And the head bows down. It might come to the floor. It might rest near to the floor. The knees might widen and the big toes might touch. This is child pose, a restorative posture, so let it be soft. As we bow down to the ground, being thankful for what's gone before and what's still to come. See if you can bring in the Ujjayi breath whenever possible during this practice. Sometimes it's easier to get it in stillness, and then in time we'll use it when we're moving dynamically. So nice, deep, slow breath. I want you to reach out through your fingertips. Slowly start walking the hands over to your left and stretching through, especially through your right hand. Take the right hip back so you feel this lovely lengthening down, all down the right side of your body. Breathe into that. Practice using the Ujjayi breath, nice and deep and slow. Maybe the right fingertips can creep forward a little more. Just for this last breath. Before you start walking your hands back through the center, over to the right hand side this time. You'll feel when you reach your edge, stay there and breathe into it, using the exhales, releasing the hip back, that left hip coming back, the left fingers reaching forward, working right on your edge to feel this lovely stretch through the side body. Can you tiptoe those fingers just a little further for the last breath? Deep exhale, taking the hips back. And then coming back to center. Rising up. And I want you to come to tabletop pose and take your right foot forward between your hands so that the knee is directly over the ankle and this left knee is going back at a little bit of an angle. So you're in like a low lunge with the knee dropped to the floor. You're facing forwards and we're going to rise up from here. So pushing into your front foot, We're lifting up. You can rest your hands on your thigh. You can bring your hands to your hips. If you want to continue with me into a crescent lunge, then you lift the arms into the air. If that's not right for you, bring the hands back to the hips. Inhale, reaching up through the fingertips. Exhale, dip the hips forward a little. This brings your back into more of an arch. Any compression or discomfort, certainly pain in the back, in the lower back, then come more upright. Otherwise, lengthen down through the tailbone and out through the crown of the head. See what it feels like to take Apana Asana in this posture. So joining those middle fingers to the thumb, index finger and little finger, reaching up, sending the energy up and out. Big inhale to finish, and then exhale, bring the hands down to the earth, next to the foot, grounding down that energy, releasing into the earth. And then I want you to walk your hands round to the side of the yoga mat, swiveling round on that left knee. If it's uncomfortable, then pad the knee up, get a blanket or cushion underneath it, and leave the left leg extended. So come upright so that you're directly over the left knee and you've got the right leg extended out to the side. The right toes point forward towards the long edge. Okay, good. Inhale, arms reach up, and we're going to come into a side bend over that straight extended leg. So exhale, let the right hand drop down somewhere onto the leg it will land. The left hand is reaching out over the top. 2 more breaths here. So on the inhale, think, what length can I bring into the side body, the ribs? On the exhale, maybe you go a little deeper into the crescent, and maybe you rise up again to find that length, that space in the body, and exhale out. Good. Going to rise all the way up on an inhale. And exhale, bring the hands down, bring the knees both to the floor, and you turn back to the front of your mat. Come to hands and knees, ready to do that on the other side. Okay, so this time it will be the left foot that comes forward between the hands. Make sure that the back knee is comfortable. If you want to get something underneath it, then grab something now. And it goes back at a little bit of a slope. And if you feel wobbly when you take your hands off the floor, take the front foot out to the side a little more, and it will make you feel more stable. So we're going to inhale and rise up. And you can stay there. You can stay with the hands on the hips, or bring the arms up on your next inhale. And the gaze can go up as well, or the gaze can stay forward. Let your hips dip forward. See how that feels in the body. Doesn't feel right, this can be a much more upright posture, or you can take it into that crescent. Try Apana Mudra. Apana is a downwards expulsion force that we use to get rid of toxins in the body, but it can be for emotions and memories and mind as well as body. So big inhale and let it go. On the exhale, bringing the hands down to the earth and walking them around to the long edge of your mat, swiveling around on your knee, settling yourself so you've got this left leg coming out at the side. The foot, the ankle is in line with the knee, and then see how it feels to come up, to rise up. See if you can make your position stable as best you can. That extended foot is turning. It's at 90 degrees to your legs, so it's towards the long edge of the mat. And then we inhale up, keeping that length in the side of the body. We exhale over, resting the left hand on the left leg, reaching up through the right hand and breathing into this posture. This is gate pose. So think of it as going through a gate, okay? Leaving one place behind and exploring into the next. It's like this transitional phase that we're in, the gateway to something new. Good. And then inhale up, exhale, hands can come down, knees together, swivel yourself around to the front And this time, I want you to bring the hands just a little bit in front of the shoulders, ready to come up into downward facing dog. So hands in front of shoulders, really widen out the fingers, press into the fingertips, tuck the back toes on an inhale, and then push up into your hands, into your feet on an exhale, and pedal out the legs. So bend one knee, press the opposite heel into the floor, stretching out down the back of the legs and really using the exhales here, either your ujjayi breath or you can even sigh out the exhales. And enjoy that feeling of release. If you don't like down dog, or if you don't want to stay in this posture for the next couple of breaths, come to puppy dog and have a lovely stretch out of the back by walking your hands forward. And you can always stretch one leg behind and then the other to get this same feeling of letting go. Slowly start to walk hands and feet together, coming into a forward fold. Feet hip width apart for stability. Knees can have a little bend in them so it's soft. And a little shake of the head to release the neck. Nodding, shaking. And the arms can dangle down or hold opposite elbows. If you've got any reason where you don't like that feeling of the head below the heart, if you've got high blood pressure, then keep your hands on your thighs and stay in more of a half forward fold position where the head is level with the heart. Otherwise, really let everything go. Inversions like this help mental clarity. So think of it like washing out the brain. It's got this lovely influx of oxygenated blood, washing it out, flushing it through. And then slowly, we're going to start rising up like a rag doll with bent knees. We push down into the feet and bring ourselves up to standing, rolling the shoulders back when you get there, bringing the hands down beside the hips, palms face forward in mountain pose. Feeling strong like a mountain. The feet are rooted into the ground and we grow up through the legs, through the torso, right out through the crown of the head, like there's that little string drawing your head up higher. Shoulders are relaxed away from the ears and we feel anchored into the earth whilst reaching into the sky. And from here, we're going to take a balance. First of all, I want you to concentrate on sending your energy down into your left foot. That's your balancing foot. And spreading out the toes wide. Take your right toes a little way behind you. Hands can be now down by your side or on your hip. And when you're ready, lift those right toes off and bend the knee a little bit. Good. And you can stay here. This can be your balance. Or you can lift the opposite hand into the air. So left hand up into the air. Extra little challenge, we can bring the elbow and knee towards each other. Good. And take it out again. Maybe you tilt forward a little bit. So you're running for a bus saying, stop, wait for me. And then elbow and knee together. Move slowly and mindfully and use a spot on the wall in front of you or the camera or the phone, the laptop to gaze at. And to help concentrate the mind as we slowly move in and out. Can you exhale as the elbow and knee come together? Can you inhale as you reach out? Can you do it one more time? Or are you ready to rest? Well done. Always this last one when I said that's the hardest one. And then come upright and down again. And notice how that leg feels, okay? Working the muscles in that standing leg, working the mind to focus on the balance. Then we're going to shift it over. So pressing down into your right foot. Let the feet spread, okay? It's going to be a wide base and take the left toes behind you. When you're ready, lifting the toes off the floor, keep a micro bend in the standing leg. It doesn't have to lock straight. Get those muscles working. And then you choose whether the hands stay on the hips or maybe the opposite one lifts up. That will be the right one, lifting up this time. Inhaling as you are and exhale, bringing the elbow and knee towards each other. Maybe teasing it into a little bit of a lean. Good. Doing what you can, slowly and mindfully. Really feel what the muscles need to do in order to hold this balance. Are you running for your bus or are you staying upright? Your choice. Couple more times if you can. You work with your breath. You don't have to stay in the same rhythm as me. Lovely. Well done. Make that like your last one. And then rejoice as you can bring both feet onto the ground. Come back to mountain pose a moment. If you want to, close your eyes. Whilst we're stationary, it's nice sometimes to come inwards. Just tap into how the body's feeling, what messages it's sending you, what bits are talking to you and saying they're being well used. I want you to really press down into the feet and imagine you're taking the feet apart. So they're not going to move on the ground, but really feel that engagement with the floor as you press down into the floor, take them apart, feel the muscles firing up in your legs. How strong does that make you feel? And then release and let go. Feel the muscles, let go. Nice. And then take a turn to your left. So facing the long edge of your mat, big stride, feet wide apart as the legs are long. Ready to come into warrior two. Turn the right toes so that they're facing towards the front of your mat and bring the left heel back at a little bit of an angle. Okay, and the hips, as best you can, are facing that long edge of the mat. Inhale, take the hands out to the side, shoulder height. Exhale, bend the front knee. Strong posture. Today we're going to use it to look back into the past. So we're going to turn from facing the front to facing the back of the mat. So maybe you won't be able to see me too well. You just got to listen to the instructions and follow my voice for the next couple of moves. So we're going to see if we can turn on one breath. Don't worry if it doesn't work out first time. We're going to do this the next few weeks. You'll get used to it. So as we inhale, we cross the wrists, big circle with the hands. The toes start turning to the side of your mat and then to the back of the mat. As you exhale, bend the left knee as you come into warrior two, looking backwards now. How does it feel if you take Apana Mudra in this posture, joining the middle fingers and the thumb together of that left hand so that you're looking down your left arm as if you're looking into the past and you're letting go, you're releasing. You're saying goodbye. Thank you for the lessons that I learned. I've taken with me what I need. I can let you go. Good. And then we're going to turn back again. So cross those wrists down low. Big circle. Cross them again up high. Turn back to the front of your mat. Come into warrior two. If the arms and the shoulders are aching by now, you can always bring your hands to the hips, but you keep this proud lifted chest. I want you to imagine that I'm behind you. I'm just going to sandwich my palm on top and below of your hand, and I'm drawing slightly back on the fingers. Imagine I'm just tugging a little bit as though you're still anchored into the past, but you're reaching forward into the future, and you've got this perfect state of balance. Torso is upright, gaze is strong. Big breath to finish now. Big inhale. On the exhale, cartwheel your hands down as you bring the hands towards the front foot. frame the front foot, turn the back toes, and drop down onto the back knee. And we're back in a low lunge, facing the front of your mat. Going to take a twist from here. So the right hand is going to stay on the outside of your foot, palm down onto the floor. The left hand is going to come onto your left hip. And then we turn the torso so that this top shoulder points up to the ceiling. An open twist. If you want to continue the movement, you lift your left hand up. But again, if that doesn't feel right in your shoulder, then bring the hand back to the hip. Sometimes it's easier to turn without that extension through the hand. So breathe in here and feel this openness across the heart, reaching up through the fingertips. Now we're going to try and rise up like we did at the beginning, but keeping our hands outstretched. So we're still turned to the side. We rise up, we lift up. So the right hand is pointing forward, left hand is pointing back. Big breath in there. And then as we breathe out, we're turning towards that front bent knee and continuing to turn. You can make this as big or small a twist as you want. Okay, lengthen up through the spine. You might be full 180-degree turn. You might be still almost facing the front. Arms can be on the hips if you want, rather than out wide. This is about a twist rather than about the ability to hold the arms out. Nice big breath in here. And use the exhales to come into the twist. Keep that front knee as best you can over the ankle. It will want to wander back. Nice breath to finish. And exhale, hands down, frame the front foot again, bow it down. Tuck your back toes, lift up the back knee and get a little rock going between the front foot and the back foot. You're going to push off with the back toes and come into a forward fold. Again, make it nice and soft, knees are bent, head dangles down, and take your time to roll up when you're ready. Rolling up to standing, shoulders roll back. You come into mountain pose. Take a couple of breaths there. Feel the effects of the movements that we've gone through, of the release that might happen, of the energy being stirred up. Okay, we're looking for this apana energy today, this downward and outward energy. Can you let it go? Wow, you've got a whole other side to try it on. So this time turn to your right, big stride. And it will be the left toes that turn to the front of your mat. The right heel comes back a little way. So you've got that sort of 30-degree angle in the foot. And if you feel wobbly, heel toe the front foot out to the side a little more. See if that helps you feel more stable. Still as best you can, the hips turn towards the long edge of the mat. Inhale, arms out to the side. Exhale, bend that front knee as you come into warrior two. And breathe. This is a great one to use the Ujjayi breath. Every exhale, you can drop down a little more, drop those hips down, even if that means rising up a little bit on the inhale and then trying it again. Ideally, you want the front knee over the ankle, so you might need to wriggle the foot forward a little bit if that needs to be extended. But let's look back now, ready to change direction. Inhale, cross the wrists in front of the pelvis and make a nice big circle. Let the toes turn as you look to the back now of your mat. Exhaling into warrior two. Now you're looking down your right hand. Stay here for a few breaths. Join the fingers to the thumb of that back hand if you want to. Apana Mudra, letting go. Let's say goodbye to what no longer serves us. Big breaths to release. We learned from the past. Thank you for those lessons, but we've done with it for now. Taken what we need. sink down through the hips. Really feel this powerfully now. And then we're going to turn back to look to the future. Inhale, cross your wrists, nice big circle as the toes, the feet move. And you're looking forward again. You're coming into your warrior two, looking forward. But don't be tempted to lean forward, to reach forward. You are perfectly balanced. You are a yogi warrior, remember? So you've got this upright torso. I'm there, just giving a little tug on your fingers. They're reaching back, front fingers are reaching forward, or you can take your hands to your hips. And we're breathing. Drop those shoulders away from the ears. Feel powerful down through your feet. One more big breath, and then cartwheel the hands around to come to frame the front foot. Allow the back toes to turn towards the front and then drop down onto the back knee. So you're in your low lunge. Ready for your twists on this side. This time the left hand presses down into the floor. And if this doesn't feel right, maybe next time have a block or a couple of books to put a hand down when we do these sorts of twists. And then that top hand either comes to the hip and you turn, or it lifts up into the air and you breathe. You feel like you're opening out right across the center of your body. Okay, if the hand is on the hip, then you are breathing across up into that shoulder, maybe up, out through the elbow. Whatever extremities are reaching up and out, you breathe in and out through them. Lovely. Now let's try and rise up. See if you can press down into that front foot, and on an inhale, lift yourself up. Nice and controlled. Good. Lovely stuff. And then on your next exhale, start the turn. You first of all turn to the front, and then you keep going. Keep lengthening your spine. You're turning towards the bent knee. Don't let that front knee creep back. See if you can keep it over the ankle. If this back shoulder becomes uncomfortable, take the hand to the hip if it's not already there. There's always ways that you can get into these postures in a way that's right for you. Lovely. So feel this tightness. Where is your edge of this twist? Breathe into it and then unwind. Bring the hands down to the floor. And this time, instead of stepping into our forward fold, we're going to take that front foot back. Take it back so you come to kneeling and then sink back. Sink the hips back towards the heels. And rest in child pose. Can you bring in the Ujjayi breath? If you haven't managed to use it throughout, use these opportunities of stillness to conjure it up, because when you can bring it in without even thinking about it, it makes the dynamic postures, the stronger postures, really feel even more powerful. Remember, it's the conquering breath. So honor your breath now, bowing down to the floor. We're going to come through a little flow through cobra pose and through a cat stretch. If you would rather spend the next few breaths breathing here in child pose, absolutely fine. We'll all come together in a minute anyway. Otherwise, reaching your fingertips forward, placing the palms on the floor, on your mat. Inhale, rising up through kneeling. Exhale, let the hips come forward and down into your cobra pose. Okay, the legs are on the floor, the hips are on the floor. You can come all the way to the floor if you want, and then back up again. The hands are under the shoulders unless you prefer to stay in Sphinx with forearms on the floor. Then the elbows are more under the shoulders. I want you to use the exhale to see if you can relax into your cobra. So a little bit of movement in the hips sometimes helps with this. A little bit of a sway. If you prefer to come down and rise up again. Absolutely fine. Got 3 or 4 more breaths in this pose. Can you lengthen down through your tailbone? Engage the tummy muscles. See if that helps that lumbar area of the back to relax a little more. Draw your tummy, zip it up to release the lumbar spine. And then slowly press into your knees. Slowly, slowly start taking the hips up and back. Allow the back to round. Really make this slow. Let the transition happen gradually, not suddenly. And you can ease all the way back to child pose if you want to. If you prefer, you can stay in that cat stretch with a rounded back for a few breaths. And use the exhales to let go of the snake, to let go of cobra pose. Good stuff. When you're ready, come back to tabletop pose, your neutral tabletop position. And we're going to do thread the needle pose. This is where we thread one arm under the other and come into a twist, but it's a supported twist down on the floor. So I want you to start with hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Take the left hand out to the side. Your gaze can follow it if you wish. Stretch out through the fingers. And then when you breathe out, thread the arm underneath the other one. Thread it through and bring your cheek down to the floor. So the left cheek rests down onto your mat. The right forearm is resting on your mat, and that left arm has been threaded through. So the palm faces up on the left hand, down on the right hand. And this is a gentle twist for the back. If it still feels too much of a twist for you today, instead of threading the left arm under, bring both forearms to the floor, just a little bit over to the right. And then you can rest your head down, and it's a much gentler twist. Otherwise, if you're on the floor, can you release and let go of any tension in your fingers, in your toes, and breathe into the back of your body. Nice and deep and slow. Couple more breaths on this side. Final feeling of letting go. And then perhaps moving your right palm just a little closer to your face, pressing down into that right hand. Lift yourself up, unravel, and have a nice stretch out with your left arm. And bring it down to the floor. Line yourself up again, tabletop pose, ready to go the other side. Inhale, takes the right hand out for a lovely stretch, extending through the arm. Exhale, it threads underneath. You let your left elbow bend as you bring your right cheek down onto the floor as best you can. This is another posture. You could always use a cushion or block under your head if you don't want to come right down to the floor. You've got that option of having the forearms and resting the head on both forearms instead of threading yourself under. See how the twist feels in your body. It might feel different on one side to the other. Can you be with it? If it's a little uncomfortable, but there's no pain, breathe into it. Allow yourself to relax into it. Twists are great for detoxifying the body. And we're breathing in and out, concentrating on the back of our body, what's behind us today. Check that jaw and the tongue. Release and relax. Fingers are soft now, and so are the toes. Last couple of breaths here. It'll be the left hand that you press into the palm, push yourself up. Have a lovely stretch through that right arm. And bring yourself back to tabletop position. Sitting back on your heels. You can swing your legs around, come in front of you. And before we come down onto the floor, I want to give you a couple of options for our last couple of poses. You might want to get some props ready. So in a minute, we're going to do bridge pose where we lay on our back and lift up our hips. And then we'll do an inversion of some sort. We'll get the body inverted. So you might want to have some books or blocks or a bolster to pop under the hips, stay in bridge pose in a supported bridge pose. You might want to get that ready. You might want to move to the wall in a minute and put your legs up against the wall to get the feet inverted, the legs inverted. Or you might want to come with me into a half shoulder stand, which I'll talk you through. We can roll into that. But if that's not for you today, if you don't want to flip yourself up that much, if you've got a heavy period or your tummy feels yucky, you might not want to. If your neck or shoulders are an issue, you might not want to do a half shoulder stand. So if you want those other options, maybe have props at the ready. Also have a blanket or cushion handy for relaxation. Any extra layers, just grabbable so you don't have to disturb yourself too much in a minute. So when you've got what you need ready, you can come down to lying on the floor, laying on your back. Knees are bent, feet are flat on the floor. Have a little wriggle, get the shoulders comfortable. Bring the palms down beside your hips, facing down onto the ground. And walk your feet as close as you can towards the hips, hip width apart, until the heels lift off the floor, and that's a bit too far. So just walk them out a little bit. So feet flat on the ground. And then when you're ready, it'll be an inhale where we push down into the feet, lift the hips off the floor and roll up the back. We're rolling up towards our shoulders. And then as we breathe out, we're rolling back down again, slowly rolling down through the spine, hips trying to come down last. Use the tummy muscles to control that movement. And again, inhale. Feel the front of the body opening, lifting the heart, lifting the hips high at the top of the inhale, and then the lengthening as you roll back down the spine, one vertebra at a time. Keep this going. If it feels like whole chunks of your spine move together, this is the exercise you want to do to get that flexibility back into your spine. Really nice and slowly, seeing if you can take your time over any sticky bits that you think there's about 3, 4, 5 vertebrae went down together. One more time, lifting up. If you want to stay here for a breath, then spend the exhale with the hips in the air. And then the inhale, you lift even higher. Can you lift the hips maybe even a millimeter higher? And slowly, slowly roll back down onto the floor and feel that release. The hips can stay on the floor now. Feel that connection with the ground. So here's your choices. If you want to stay in bridge pose, but make it a supported bridge pose so that you get some inversion out of it, you lift up just as we have been doing, hips are high, and you slide something under the sacrum. It could be a block, it could be a bolster, it could be a pile of books, it could be something with a blanket over it. And you want to position it on your sacrum, not on your tailbone, your coccyx, not on your spine. It should be a nice wide bit of pelvis at the top of your hips that you are resting it on. And this could be as high or as low as is right for you. So if you can adjust it, even better. Okay, and you're going to stay there. Maybe the palms turn upwards. If you want to try one of the other postures, this is your time to shuffle over to a wall or a chair and put the feet up, get them raised, or sit yourself up a little bit And I'll talk you into half shoulder stand if you want to give that a try. You roll back, you press into your forearms, lift your hips into the air and catch the back of your hips. Okay, this is half shoulder stand. So you've got plenty of your back still on the floor. The neck stays relaxed. And if you want to, you can straighten the legs. If you prefer, you keep them bent. You can adjust your hands to get them in a more comfortable position under those hips. And wherever you are, with whatever inversion you've chosen, you can close your eyes. You might want to use the Ujjayi breath. You might want to use a deep, smooth, more natural breath. Reversing the energy, the usual flow of things. Thinking of this release coming now down the legs, into the upper body. More energy coming into the heart space, the head, getting that extra oxygenated blood, flushing it through. And inversions help get rid of toxins. When we come out of the pose and the energy is reversed again, the flow of everything is reversed, it gives a chance to flush out through the lymph glands by tilting ourselves upside down. Breathing, keeping the breath smooth, whichever type of breath you're using. If you're in bridge pose, make this your last long, deep breath. Lift your hips up and slide out whatever support has been underneath you. Bringing your hips slowly to the ground, enjoying feeling connected with the earth. If you've got your legs up the wall or you're in half shoulder stand, bend the knees, bringing the knees closer to you. Using your arms as support, they can be your braces, your brakes. Gently ease yourself out of the posture so that everybody comes back to lying on the floor. Stretch one leg out long, then the other. Point your toes. If you've got room behind you, lift the arms up and overhead. Otherwise, they can stay by your side. I want you to stretch through your fingertips and your toes and the crown of your head so you feel a full body stretch. Breathe into that. And then as you breathe out, bring the arms down by your sides. Let the feet come a little wider apart. Let the toes drop out to the side. You can turn your palms up to the sky, fingers gently curled. Close your eyes. This is Shavasana. So if you want to settle in this posture, if you want to reach any extra blankets to cover yourself up or socks to put on, maybe a cushion under your head, make yourself comfortable. If this doesn't feel great in your lower back, then try bending the knees and rest the knees together. Constructive rest pose. So however you choose to take relaxation at the end of the class, it should feel effortless. And you concentrate the mind on relaxing the muscles. So with the eyes closed, if that's right for you, think about the jaw relaxing. A little bit of space between the teeth. The tongue is soft. The shoulders release down away from the ears. And the arms are heavy, not held in any particular way. A little bit of space under the armpits. Released and relaxed. Tummy is soft. You notice the gentle rise and fall of the chest and the stomach as you breathe. Hips spread out wide. And the legs are relaxed. Muscles in the legs, They don't have to hold you up. Supported by the ground, allow yourself to sink into the earth, safe and supported. Even the toes are relaxed, all through your body. Allow yourself to surrender into the relaxation at the end of the practice, true letting go. And you can use the breath, concentrating on the exhale to release, or the breath can now be hardly noticeable, so light. You choose what works for you. In a moment, I'm going to ask you if you want to come up to sitting. So think about this. Would you rather spend the next minute or so on the floor? I'm going to take you into a gentle meditation, or if you prefer, you can bend your knees, roll onto your side, and without disturbing your energy, without opening your eyes, you could press yourself up to sitting, still with a blanket wrapped around you if you want to. And you have another choice. You can choose to take the fingers into Apana Mudra, or you can leave them just as they are. If it feels an effort to keep the fingers in a certain shape, then leave them gently curling. So settling yourself into your chosen meditation posture. I want you to use the breath. Every inhale, I want you to think the word let. And every exhale, the word go. So you're thinking to yourself, let go. And you're using the breath to do this. And feel that you're letting go. Every exhale allows you to let go a little more. Let go. It doesn't have to be letting go of anything in particular. We've worked that through the practice. Your subconscious can do the work for you now. Let go. It's effortless. Thinking these words, the magic is working. You release and relax a little more. And if you've taken the mudra with your hands, I want you to gently release it. Let the fingers uncurl and fall into a natural position, however they want to be. A couple more breaths, and I want you to release the mantra, the chant, let go. Let the mind be still. It doesn't have to think anything in particular. And when you're ready, use the inhales to bring energy slowly back into the body. Start making small movements with your fingers and toes. Bend your knees and roll gently over onto your right hand side and pause there. The eyes can still be closed, or you can let them open at this point. It's up to you. When you feel ready, use your hands to press into the mat. Press yourself up to a seated position. Bring your hands to your heart. We're going to re-energize a little. We're taking a couple of nice deep inhales. As we breathe in, take the arms out, up above you, hands come together. And as you exhale, release the breath as the hands come back down to the heart. You can sigh it out if you like. And again, inhale, energizing. Exhale, releasing. And if you wish, you can join me in an Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You can keep the hands at the heart, or you can sweep them up one more time. Inhaling in. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Breathe into the heart space. Breathe out as you take a bow. Bow to the practice of yoga, which helps us to accept and learn and let go of the past and embrace and weather the future. Namaste.